These are the things that only the top 1% of men do. And honestly, I believe these are the habits that really separate the boys from the men. In last week's video, I talked about some of the things you must have in order to be qualified as this top 10% man. I feel like within the manosphere, the term high value man has become increasingly popular, but you must understand the different habits and tricks and systems that all high value men do. And some of the things that I'm gonna talk about are also some of the things that I've implemented within my own life, and every other successful guy I've been around tends to also follow these same principles. The first thing is that they have routines. Guys, I have routines in every aspect of my life. And the reason why routines are so important, not only because it keeps you on track, but also it builds discipline. Think about it. When you go in the gym and you have no routine, we felt lost. We probably weren't making the greatest progress. That's because we weren't following something in a systematic, practical sort of order so that we can see where we started versus where we're going. So having routines in every aspect of your life, even outside of just fitness, is very, very important and something that I realize that very, very successful people do. Now, for me personally, you already know I have a gym routine. I also have a morning routine, a night routine, a eating routine, a grooming routine, a skincare routine. You see how many routines I have in my life? And it's not something like I gotta track and manage. At this point in time, it's all within my head. But maybe at first, that's what you have to do. You actually gotta sit down, write out your routine of the things you wanna do, and follow it step by step in order to what? Accomplish a goal. Every man should have at least 3 routines: a gym routine, a morning routine, and also some sort of self-care routine. This can be physically or even mentally. Think of even meditation. Me getting up every morning and walking 2.5 miles was not only a routine for me that I set to help me lose fat faster, but also it became more of a meditative routine where I can read or even just focus on my thoughts and gratitude for the day. Now think about the reason we have routines in the first place. As I said before, is to accomplish a goal. And that's the next thing that I realize all top 1% men have, is the fact that they have some sort of active goal they're working towards. The reason why goals are so important is because it gives you a sense of purpose. Think about the opposite, right? You have no goals, you're kind of just going through life on autopilot. You really just feel lost and you feel like you're not working towards something. I feel the most depressed men on earth are the ones who have absolutely no goals whatsoever. So as a man, you must always ask yourself, what am I working towards? And have goals in place with that. I personally like to divide my goals in 3 phases: short term, sort of medium term, and long term. So that'll be 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. Think of the New Year's resolution. So I feel like that's literally the most popular goal setting sort of workshop that most people do in the world. But you need to actually have goals within those goals itself. And then also throughout the months, kind of assess where you're tracking at and where you're going towards those goals. You can have goals in all areas of life. Once again, your fitness, your mental health, your spiritual health, even your finances. I feel like those are the most important. Working your way to be a top 1% man can definitely be a very, very stressful sort of journey. And you're gonna tackle some tasks and things that you probably have never experienced in your life. Trust me, I've dealt with so much stress at one point in time that I actually felt like I was gonna have a mental breakdown. But the most popular quote is, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I believe that is absolutely true as you're working your way through these routines, through these goals throughout the course of time. And that's also why it's so important to take care of your mental health. Throughout this process, I have been talking about some things and aspects to take care of your mental health. And after being within the self-improvement space for a few years, I've realized that a lot of guys just genuinely have really bad mental health, and that's pretty much the blockage that is stopping them from becoming the best version of themselves. They could be depressed, have high anxiety, have a lot of stress, you never know. But if you really don't have a mental clearance to actually set forward towards your goals, then that will always stop you and block you. Even looking back on my own journey, back when I was 18, 19, 20, 21, I realized that I've always had a great mental health. I never went through periods of like just intense depression or, you know, that sort of mental block where it feels like you can't do anything. And I feel like that's what really helped me exceed in getting to where I'm at now, is because I've always managed my stressors and made sure that I was on the right path and to keeping my mental health in check. And I believe every man should do the exact same thing. That's why I'm proud to announce today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. And this can be really hard because finding a therapist in your area can be pretty difficult. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's all online. It's remote, and only by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as just a few days. It's very easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. There's a link in my description, betterhelp.com/Austin Dunham. Using the link below is going to give you 10% off your first month. That way you can test and see if a therapist is right for you. And because finding a therapist is a little like dating, if you don't really fit with that therapist, which is a common thing in therapy, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost without stressing about insurance. Now, I know what you're thinking. Men shouldn't go to therapy. Men, we should work on our own problems and fix our own problems by ourselves. And I believe that's why a lot of guys have bad mental health, is because they feel like they should do everything by themselves. And it's taught that it's weak to go to therapy. It's taught that it's weak to actually feel emotions and have these problems within our lives. But as men, we all know that deep down, personally, we all experience these levels of stressors, emotions, and even some cases of depression, but we just really have nobody to sort of talk to and go through with it. That's why I'm a big component of online therapy. That way you can do it privately and you really don't have to tell anybody that you're doing it, or you don't have to wait in an awkward waiting room and just feel embarrassed or anything like that. And a lot of people who would benefit from therapy end up not doing it just for that sole reason. So click the link down below. You're gonna fill out a questionnaire, and then within 48 hours, you're gonna get matched with a therapist that is right for you. Click the link down below to get started today. Within a man's life, there are 3 phases that are the most important. That is health, wealth, and then number 3, relationships. What I've also realized too is that the top 1% men do not allow women to distract them from their purpose and their goals. But best believe a lot of average men do. You probably have experienced this yourself, or you've seen it with a close friend of yours. They get with the wrong girl, that girl then distracts us from the goal's mission, and in the long term, they start to realize that it wasn't even worth it in the first place. Maybe they didn't last. Maybe the girl actually ended up cheating on him. You actually never know the case. But one thing you must always realize and understand is that chasing women in your early 20s will always provide a negative output return versus focusing on yourself, leveling up, getting more knowledge, gaining more skills, making more money, and then over time allowing women to chase you from that. Now, I'm not saying that you should cut out women altogether. That's not the message here. I do believe in monk mode in some cases and in only some phases, but I don't believe in a permanent long monk mode phase to where you're just by yourself, not talking to any woman whatsoever. Because I do believe men should get competent with women and do gain that skill set of dating and social skills and confidence and just overall making yourself more attractive, but just don't allow women to distract you from your purpose. What I would actually do is that I would finish all my work first, go to the gym, do my meetings, whatever I gotta do. And then at the end of the day, that's when I would set time for dates. That's when I would set time maybe for a girl that I'm seeing. Even in some cases, if I had to push that back to only seeing a girl on the weekend, then that's what I had to do. And then that all stems from having discipline. You must overall just be disciplined with women. And if you do find a good girl and she is an asset towards your life and she's supportive towards your goals and productive and helps you out, then that's a different scenario. In that case, I believe that can actually be beneficial in the long run. But if you're dealing with these toxic women, these women where, you know, they always have you just in a negative emotional state, probably causing you to have that depression, probably causing you to not feel like you're 100% complete self, then that is a woman that you simply just need to let go. Now, lastly, the top 1% men always think long term. Here's one thing you gotta remember about this, guys, is that it's always about the journey, not the destination in itself. But whenever you're creating your goals and your routines, you gotta think about, can I sustain this for a long period of time? Will this bring me even more stress, even more burnout, right? Because burnout is a real thing, and burnout is caused by many different stresses in your life, affecting your ability to make decisions and then from there, take action. So anytime I'm coming out with a new routine or maybe setting up a new goal for myself, I just simply think about, does this benefit me long term? And can I do this long term? If the answer is no, then I'll probably retract that and sort of try and figure out a new routine from there. But you always must have that long-term mindset. Honestly, nothing comes good in the short term. If you're getting benefit within the short term, that goes even for financial services, maybe investing and stuff like that, then that's not only a high risk, but At the end of the day, it's gonna be a low reward because after that, you're gonna be chasing for the next short-term fulfillment. You're always gonna gain more fulfillment in the journey itself and from long-term rewards. And to figure this out, simply ask yourself this one question: will this bring me short-term pleasure or long-term fulfillment? Now, I actually came across this very interesting article that kind of deciphers short-term fulfillment versus long-term pleasure, and I'm gonna read it to you right now. The first one, which is short-term fulfillment, is a hedonic approach where a person's main objective in life is to experience as much pleasure as possible while generally avoiding any painful experiences. Financial and material rewards would likely fit into this bucket. Think of things like cinema tickets, bonuses, fits into short-term and transactionary pleasure. Now, on the other hand, it's called a eudaimonic approach, which is more concerned with living a deeper, good life rather than momentary feelings of happiness. This can be volunteering, raising children, doing things for others, even meditation, which may be less pleasurable on a day-to-day, but these pursuits give individuals a true sense of fulfillment and naturally being who they are and expressing it. It is about being the best one you can be and fulfilling the true potential of one's existence, particularly in the long run. So remember to always think long term. Thank you guys for watching today's video. These are the things that only the top 1% of men do that I've realized. Don't forget to check out BetterHelp for 10% off your first month of therapy. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Peace.